For some weird, unexplained reason, but welcome, welcome. It's not busy. It's Friday. It's a nice beach day, and it's nothing like it has been. Yesterday we were slammed. Friday's easy. My trusty employee can handle it. So I came up here to work on bows. So the deal is, try making a bow in a small town. Ha, funny, huh? Okay, so here's the bow. There's center line, measured out 3, I believe, to each side. So I've got 6-inch gap for the handle. And then took this line and then drew this line. That's the length of the snakeskin. Now I've been approaching this bow as anybody can make a bow. And I violated all the rules of bow making by having like really messed up fibers on the back, which is actually the inside of the tree. I just soaked the sinew in like a very thin glue mixture that's actually liquid at room temperature and just pulled it out and stuck it on, didn't wrap it. I did wait until the ends or the back was dry before I wrapped the tips. That I will not cheat on. I will never wrap or back a bow with sinew and then wrap the tips and the handle or whatever while it's fresh, because you're just not going to get a nice tight tip wrap. But keeping with my idea of I'm just going to put the thing together and see how it turns out. Like, I haven't done it a lot before. Maintain that era of perfection with the snakeskin. Okay, so actually the glue mixture that I had my sinew soaking in, see, tendons, took it out of the freezer. It was just in a Ziploc bag. Put it in my double boiler. Add a little bit of water so it would be nice and thin, and I wouldn't need to use a double boiler. Sized my bow where I'm going to do it. Now, if I was to add new sinew to a dried back, just sizing it and then putting sinew on right away, it would probably delaminate. However, I can get away with that with snakeskin because snakeskin is more airtight than just a layer of sinew. So it's going to sit on the back of the bow, on the sizing. It's going to take a long, long time to dry. And by that time, it will have re-wetted the back, reactivated the grip of that hide glue that I have on there. If I wanted to add sinew to a dried back, I would put it, set it up in the bathroom, not turn on the bathroom fan, run the shower hot, and let that steam reinvigorate that dried back, and then the sinew layer that you follow will probably work. And I bet you the hornbow makers of Eurasia probably did the same thing. They probably had a steam room for reinvigorating the back. And it doesn't penetrate, it just reinvigorates the surface of the dried back, because they would let the back dry fully, go into reflex, steam it up, reinvigorate that, add the second layer, which would make it go even more into reflex, and then the third layer would just bend it over itself. Anyway, long and short of it, you gotta be careful, want to make sure stuff sticks. I soaked, this is what I mean by I'm just sticking things on and violating it. I just had these snakeskin pieces here in hide glue, and I haven't taken the scales off, so I bet you dollars to donuts, the scales aren't going to come off. I just glued scales on. I want to make sure that I'm going to put the right, okay, that's the inside of the snake. This is the outside of the snake. I'm just going to do that. Soaked in hide glue, the same viscosity as the sinew was, so it's just gluey all over. I didn't just rub it on the inside of the snake and stick it on. I just soaked it, again, imbuing the skin with glue. The glue is inside. Okay, so I can see my pencil line. I'm going to have it so the scales are facing the tips, both sides. Symmetry. Symmetry, my friends. Let's see, that's line. My wife's not home, so if I drip hide glue on the counter, I won't get busted. I'm going to stick that on there. Looks good. And if you have a snaky bow, the skin is supple enough that you can actually follow it, the snaky twists in the bow, and you'll be fine. Okay, that first step is done. I got the snake skin on the back. Let's see, the scales are going this way. Yeah, rinse my fingers. Hang on. I'm going to wipe my fingers. And I'm going to take my paintbrush, and hopefully I can get the snake skin into the crevices of the sinew. Needed a stiffer brush. Now am I going to trim my skin now? This isn't working. I have to figure out another way. Jam the snake skin in there. But it'll probably work when it sets up a little more. It'll set up more. I'm not going to trim my snake skin now. I'm just going to like stick it over the belly. Big deal. I'm going to sand the belly. I'll get rid of the extra glue. I want the edges of the snake skin to grip so when it shrinks up, it'll be stuck to the point in which I want it to be stuck to. Stick that there. Now it is time. Make sure I got my reference mark. Good to go. Now you're probably thinking, how can I get that hide glue off of there so I could peel the scales off with packing tape? Packing tape works really good. If the scales don't come off, no harm, no foul. But what I'll do is when this glue sets up a little bit, I'm going to take my very used washcloth, one of them, that my wife passed along to me because I'm really bad about like ruining washcloths. I'm hard on washcloths. And just clean off the glue on the outside of that snake skin as best as possible, and hopefully that'll release. Oh. Wait. Hang on. Gotta check the directionality of the scales. They're going that way? Of course. I want to have the scales going towards the tip because, oh, that's already sticky. Because it's going to be a symmetrical bow that I will flip the top limb for the bottom limb every so often. Move it a little bit more there. What message should you take away from this? That sticking snake skin on the back of the bow is so simple. Because it's thin, unless it's thick snake. By the time this starts setting up, I will have found a stiff enough brush to get it into the crevices of the sinew, and if it doesn't, it's not going to hurt anything. And that is that. Enough glue. The snake skin, again, doesn't allow too much air to pass, so it's going to take a long time for it to dry. It's one of the reasons why you never stick snake skin on a bow that's freshly sinew backed. Just don't do it. It's bad. It's really bad. Let me rinse my hands again. Got hide glue burns. Gonna put this where I'm not gonna knock it. Put it in the refrigerator so it'll set up, and then I can pop it back in the Ziploc bag. Because again, don't just keep your sinew pot in the refrigerator, because after a couple months, when you remember it, it's going to have mold in it, and you'll have to throw the whole thing out. There. Let's envision the beauty of this thing. And you too can do this. This is not beyond your technology. Maybe it is at this moment in time, but you could certainly learn how to do this. Nothing I did is like all that special or like impossible. A few notes. Now, I did it honestly, that's the first time I saw the tiller of the thing. What I noticed is perfectly acceptable, probably a 55-pound bow at 24, 25 inches. But this is going to a particular person that wanted a 40 around, 40 to 45. And so it'll be perfect. I can cool it on the bend in the handle, maybe have just a titch of flex in the handle, but I want the bend to be beyond the handle. So I can work it down. I didn't damage it. Not at all, not in the least. It'll keep going into more reflex over time. Thin it out, get it down to 40 to 45, get the bend I want, and I didn't screw it up. That's important. I can screw things up. That's all. That should be enough.